was out, they pulled me back in.
What's up, y'all? I want to thank all you guys for sticking it out with me as I grow my channel. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I thought I'd take a whack at this Goldman Sachs situation. I was reading some of the comments on on Facebook, and it was kind of what I expected. Seems like there are some of the ladies that get it. They see the big picture of what's going on. $10 billion to support the advancement of Black women is a substantial investment. I thought I would, take a look at, what was just, what I could find, just doing a simple search just to see, what was out there, how much money was actually being invested just in Black women alone. And, I found quite a few stories that were talking about some of these movements towards just investing one half of our community. And I think we've seen, from the past to now, I'll say about from, the 70s up to, current day, what the ramifications of just funding Black women would end up, doing to the Black community. I think the beneficiaries of, these monetary gains don't really care much for the community and what it's going to do to the community or the men that they claim that they love so much. Looks like in addition to this $10 billion, looks like, Netflix has announced funding of a new global initiative for programs to boost female creatives. We've got Video Gaming Association commits $1 million to trying to get more girls, Black girls, into coding and game development. We've got Mount Sinai System launches a program to increase Black women in executive roles. We've got a story on Forbes. It says, what does a workplace that prioritizes, supports, and centers Black women look like? Spelman College announces $250 million comprehensive programs, scholarships, endowed professorships, and innovative programs for Black women only. There's a congressional report that outlines the action plan to provide opportunities for Black women and girls only. I just can't see why people can't see that this is not beneficial to our communities. We already have women that openly discuss how black men don't measure up because they don't make the six figures that they think that all black men should make in order for them to even be dateable or marriage material. All of this has been bolstered by, television programs, reality TV, all kinds of fantasy nonsense that doesn't give, I think, black women a realistic picture of what they actually need in order to have a happy relationship. I mean, the things that we're asking for, or that they are asking for, in order to be happy, far exceed basic, requirements for what is needed. I mean, you have some of these people requesting, what Jeff Bezos will be able to provide from a guy who's, in his 20s or 30s, and it's ridiculous. And we're going to see more of the same. You're going to see a situation where you're going to see black men not being able to compete with regard to the monetary success of these black women due to these programs. I mean, we've already seen that. The Monahan report clearly addressed what was needed to help our community. The funding and investment in the education of black men and boys in order to strengthen our families was what was required. It was what the data recommended. But yet we're doing the exact opposite. We're continuing what's been going on, the status quo. Black women are going to college more. They have the majority of degrees, undergraduate, master's level, PhD levels. They have all of this. Yet all of the money is going towards these programs that help black women and not black men. So I just don't understand how logically one could look at this as a plus for the black community. The Biden administration is, actively, putting, black females in general in these positions that we're supposed to just have faith that they're going to address the needs of black men in this community. Now, we already know that during the campaign, the crime bill was thrown about, talking about the disparities facing black men and boys, all of the police shootings of black men, which disproportionately outnumber the numbers of females that are being murdered by police interactions that don't result in white men, dying like they do our community. I mean, I think that's an undisputed fact. We keep hearing, all of this supposed support and love for black men, yet there is no monetary movement towards black men in order to get them into these higher level positions, to ensure that they're graduating, to ensure that they have jobs so that they are viable mates for black women. So it's no wonder that you see the discomfort in Black men on this space, and in general about the movement towards a female-centric, female-empowered, world that doesn't address us or our needs. How do we fit into this? There's no benefit for us, that we can see in sight. I mean, you don't want to be negative about, what we see on a day-to-day basis, but how can we not be negative about this? I mean, we see these women that are put in place in these elevated positions, not advocating for Black men or Black families in general. They're just the empowerment of women. I mean, it's just over empowerment almost. I don't even know how to describe it. Moving back to the Monahan report, I mean, we saw in the past that basically when women, Black women in general, had a choice between being in a family led by a Black man or taking the money, which would allow them to have some semblance of security without the man, they took the money. Hence the Monahan scissors. They always choose money and independence over family. I mean, you always hear the same narrative, and that is, I would rather be single and die alone than to have to settle. Injecting all of this money just, into women and expecting this to benefit the entire community is naive at best. This erodes the concept of the traditional family dynamic. And a female leadership role in the home is being pushed. This theory of, men being less than, the unequal yoke, narrative is going to be pushed as if it's not being pushed as it is right now. I mean, it's not going to be a good thing. I mean, we keep seeing that. And, I'm going to, go over some of the things that some of these women on Facebook were saying. I mean, one young lady was saying that there's an abundance of programs geared towards men only and has been for decades. There's no evidence of that. But she makes the comment and gets laughter. I mean, it's almost disgusting. But we're the bad guys. Black men are the bad guys. Now, one lady, says, weren't y'all the main ones talking about Black women? $5 network, y'all should be happy. But wait, I forgot. We are dealing with conquered, feminine, weak, jealous males. Shaming, belittling verbiage when we have legitimate concerns about the status of our communities. We're supposed to be the leaders in this community. Yet, we are being rejected as leaders, yet still blamed for the destruction of our communities. So here's another one. Pretty long one here. This young lady says, I think that if the men who feel some type of way about this would take a deep look inside, they'd realize their feelings on this has nothing to do with Black women in general at all. If y'all feel emasculated by a financially secure woman, find a woman that doesn't mind being subservient and keeping you ahead of her financially, so you can always feel like the big man. If you have an issue with your woman making more money than you or getting a hand up, then maybe you shouldn't be with that woman. A strong household comes with communication and finding ways to balance without it just being tied to finances. I think the biggest fear is that the woman who can survive independently won't need y'all after all. But if your relationship has a strong foundation, it won't matter who is pulling in more money because it's the family's money anyways, not hers or yours. Let the women succeed and you will also reap the benefits. You can still be the head of the household and not be the primary breadwinner. There are so many other ways you can lead the family, but it's clear y'all equate making more money than your wife, girlfriend / woman with worth. And that's sad. I'm sad for the women who have tied themselves to such men. This is the mindset, the illogical thinking that we have to deal with. I mean, time after time. I mean, I hate to keep bringing up Kevin. I mean, although I love his show is very important. But time after time, I mean, hundreds of women have come out and said that if they had to take care of a man, they would not be able to respect him, even though they made more money than he did, whether it be $40,000, $80,000. If she was making six figures, then she would not find that man attractive. She would be angered by the fact that she would have to take on more of the financial burden for the family. So she would see herself in a masculine role, and she would see that man in a weak role. I mean, this is not a new concept. This is nature. We are supposed to provide. We are supposed to take care of our families. We are supposed to lead our families. Yet, time after time, we see in these modern women that they want to take the lead. And when they take the lead, they cannot respect any man that makes less than them. So what we're seeing here is that we're going to see all of these women in these executive roles, in elevated positions above these men who have been disparaged for decades, placed in prison, discriminated against, but they keep throwing out this double minority, the monetary assistance that black men were supposed to get, they never got. Those jobs, that assistance went to white women. That was the feminist one-upsmanship that basically took what was supposed to empower black men in order to be able to take care of their families. So, what you see now is you see the story this narrative being pushed that, you know, men somehow subjugated these women and the women were not happy. They were being, you know, abused in some way. Yet there's no evidence to that other than, you know, Lifetime shows and, you know, The Color Purple and all this other type of stuff, you know, but all of that was pushed out there as an agenda to get women to think a certain way. And that was to basically to make you see that, you know, there was another way outside of you cooperating with your husband. You know, you can be the most powerful one in the relationship, and it should be okay. He should accept that. And if he doesn't accept that, then he is less than a man. So you see this feminization of masculine roles, you know, this you know, belief system that in order for, I mean, if a man shows any masculine traits, then it's toxic, and it's dismissive of women, and it's, you know, it makes them feel like they're being subjugated in some way, when that's not what's taking place. So I'll move on to the next comment. So we have a gentleman that wrote a comment to, you know, what are the black men who will marry these black women? In the end, the empowered black woman will tell the black man who got no help they don't meet their standards or their class. This is discrimination. It's definitely not in our best interest. I mean, I'll say that. I'm not sure if it's discrimination, but it's definitely a dismantling of our communities from via a different tactic. But, you know, time after time, we see that once you inject money into whatever situation, people will choose money over their allegiance to, you know, whatever, their community, their religion, their true sense of self, honor, dignity. All those things go out the window once you give a little money. I mean, and we're seeing that, you know, with you know, our potential mates. Got another comment here. It says, I used to believe this, but I think men are favored. I think even women prefer men in leadership. Black men will have difficulties because of race. But I think black men are preferred over black women. So I think what she's trying to say is that basically, you know, that's where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be leading. We're supposed to be heading up our communities and being the leaders that we're supposed to be. I mean, we're starting to see black women at the forefront of everything. If they come out and they ask about what our community thinks about whatever, I mean, you look at MSNBC, CNN, whatever, even, you know, Fox, they bring out Candace Owens, who doesn't represent us, but I mean, they drum her out and roll her out and you know, wind her up and let her speak. You know, I'm looking at MSNBC and we've got all these black women coming out talking about what the future looks like for the black community and how black women are going to be at the forefront of this, that, and the other, and how they're going to, you know, basically fix everything that hasn't worked, because we can't continue the status quo. So my question is immediately where are the men? Where are the men? Where are your sons, your grandsons? Where are they? I mean, we're not even leading in the church anymore. we're just bystanders. I guess we're just supposed to wait for the powerful, black woman to go out and make everything right, and we'll be house husbands. It makes me think that nowadays that black women want wives, they don't want husbands. It's if you do have the money, it's pay for everything, but don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me anything. Don't impose upon my freedom. This makes me think about, these Real Housewives shows and everything. You see all these women running around. They spend all this money. They have all of these, projects that they work on, and they look so successful. That they're entrepreneurs and all of that, with their husband's money, of course. And you never see these husbands on the show. You know why? Because these husbands are out working. And, they're free to run around and do these things that look appealing to other women that are having to work, and to take care of themselves, to provide for themselves, or they're in relationships that basically these shows make they make them look uncomfortable. They make them look, illogical to them, because they all look at these shows and they think, well, I should have that. I should have that kind of lifestyle. And we see it. We hear it constantly. I should be able to take these trips. My potential husband should be able to take me on these trips. And if we're going to go over and do this and that, we'll get a nanny, for the baby and blah, blah, blah. And it's just crazy. If you just sit up and you listen to this, it's unrealistic and it's crazy. So, I'm gonna move on to the next young lady, and she had an interesting take on it. She said, I've noticed that programs and incentives keep popping up for black women and black girls, but black boys and men are being left behind. I wonder if black women are looked at as being safe. We easily conform. Maybe it's hatred for the black male on both parts of white males and females. Maybe white society can't trust black men. That's why they have to keep mentally tearing them down to keep them in their place, envious and jealous of the physique, street sense, magnetism, speech, charm. Once a white female has a black man, she rarely goes back to white men. Why? Think about it. Interesting perspective. So then we have a guy that comes on and he says, I don't see how this is a bad thing. If this benefits black women, then it would make sense that it also benefits black children and black families. I don't feel emasculated when a woman earns more than me or owns more than me. When we are married, that's my blank too. Well, I wonder how old this gentleman is, because he's obviously not privy to some of the comments that these women are making with regard to how they view a man who doesn't provide. There's so many comments about how black men are no longer providers, and they compare these men to their fathers, but yet they have no historical context to what their fathers had to go through to provide for them and to get them where they were or where they are. And that's unfortunate. So no one can live up to daddy, hence daddy issues, So got another lady, and this will be my last one from this. They don't want to help the black family by building up the black woman. Instead of The men doesn't allow the black men to gain too much control. They need to be kept lower, helping make the women stronger. Takes us out of our natural feminine selves. To work in the, so to speak, man's world, we become more aggressive. In a workplace, the men aren't going to hear or respect a woman who isn't speaking or acting on his level. Then we end up taking that attitude or behavior home. If we don't back our men, no one else will. I'm not talking about being his doormat or paying his bills while he lays on the couch. We get nowhere working separate. Amen to that. Well, I'll take that back. I got one more. Okay. So we had this one lady. This is the last one, and she didn't understand, and I'm sure you guys will get a kick out of this. She says, "Okay, I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. From reading some of the comments, so if Goldman Sachs would have pledged $10 billion to support the advancement of black men, then it's considered acceptable because black men are leaders of the community. However, since Goldman Sachs pledged the money to the advancement of black women, it is a problem, or it is problematic. Because black men feel we have enough programs supporting us, and we can't be trusted with the money to advance our own community." She goes on to say, "When I first saw the post, my first thought was great. In my opinion, pledging the money for the advancement of black women is a win, not only for black women, but also black men and the black community as a whole. Empowering black women should not make black men feel emasculated. I am really having a hard time understanding the competition between black men and black women. Why are black women seen as the enemy?" Well, guys, that's the crazy-ish that we have to deal with due to feminine studies and white feminism and all of that. I mean, you have women who just, you only had like 2 women who basically even empathized with the position of black males. So that is disheartening. That's disheartening. It is really tragic that this woman just does not, the only thing that she sees is black men as her enemy and her competition. She doesn't see the larger picture with regard to strategy and the functionality of our communities. I guess if you took black men and women out of the equation, and you put in hyenas or lions or something, and tried to basically make them act outside of their nature, that would be the only way that maybe they will be able to get it. But I even doubt that, because I'm just seeing a lack of logical thinking. They must be giving out PhDs in Cracker Jack boxes, because I'm not seeing the logical linear thought process that would be reflected in a person who has been educated at that high level. You see, if you just look at their faces, you just see this it doesn't compute type of mannerisms that happens when you start trying to get them to empathize with a black man in any way. If something goes on with a black man, there's always a justification. Well, he's lazy. Well, he should have got up off his his whatever and worked harder. I hear this Well, I have no sympathy for people who don't want to do the work. There are a lot of black guys that are out here working like hell to try to succeed. And a lot of them do succeed. Even though there are all kinds of instances of adversity and hurdles that we have to jump. And we're not even discussing the instances where there are women who are in these higher positions who make it harder, on, black males just to exist in these environments. I mean, this picture right here is what I think the future is going to look like. You're going to have, a few men, maybe one, at that boardroom table, and you're going to have all these educated females there. And if you think that those educated females are going to be advocating for the advancement of these men when they see these men as their enemies, then you're crazy. I mean, every time you keep hearing that basically, there have been programs for you. This is a man's world. You guys have it all. Well, that may be the case for white males, but that's not the case for black males. We've always had to crawl, claw, and scratch to get where we are. I dare you to find, any black man that's just had it. He had it easy, and he is where he is, and his success was not due to him basically being a digger, digging his way out of unfortunate circumstances, less than to become successful. And rather than being looked at the success story that he is, he's looked upon as someone who is standing in front of the independence of black women. Not your father, not your uncle, not your son, not your husband, not your boyfriend, not anything that is positive. And even with regular interactions, we're met with fear, anxiety. We're looked upon as sexual predators, and it's unjustified. We are in prison to feed a machine that basically is run by private enterprise. It's not that, these places have to be filled in order for the states to make money, for the corporations to make money. They are private enterprise. That should tell you right there that the motivation for these men being in there is not what it's supposed to be. It's not about justice. It's not about committing crimes. It's about filling a slot. And I don't want to go too long on this, but I think I've covered everything that I think I need to cover. Just give you guys some things to really think about, and consider when it comes down to some of the things that are going on. I want you guys to take a macro visioned approach to this, and not micro. I want you to look at everything that's going on and how it affects us, because we're striving every day to try to do better, not only for ourselves, but for our kids and for our community.
You are listening to Abuki Cabal, the analytical savage. DOC on the beat. Ooh.
You guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys listening.
I feel like a